I'm Josh Light with PoliticIt.com here in North Carolina with presidential candidate Gary Johnson, who's presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party. How are you doing, Gary?
Well, great. And, I am on the ballot, going to be on the ballot in all 50 states. So there are going to be 3 candidates. They're going to be lay claim to that, and I'm one of them.
And so we're going to ask you some questions. We've asked some of our followers on Twitter and Facebook some questions. So David Cox, he's wondering how you feel about the FBI labeling the ICP group a gang.
And that ICP is
their band.
They're the band, and it's the
Insane Clown Posse.
Insane Clown Posse.
Yes.
It sounds to me like the FBI has too many resources and too much time on its hands.
And Brittany Hemsath, she's from Provo, Utah. She's wondering if you've read any Rothbard.
Well, yes. I spend time on the internet. I read about Austrian economics, Rothbard, arguably the founder of the Libertarian movement, and I realize there are factions within the Libertarian movement. As the Libertarian candidate for president, I just kind of like to bring all those factions together under one Libertarian tent, and let's give Libertarian. I'm making the pitch to give Libertarians a shot this go round.
And let me read some of these other questions here. So this one comes from a guy in Billings, Montana. His name is Wiley. He says, "Are there any moral deficiencies in libertarianism? What are they, and how does one account for them?"
Moral deficiencies. Josh, how would you define moral deficiencies? Just give me an example of what would be a moral deficiency.
I don't know. I didn't write the question.
I know you didn't, and I'm trying to. I want to answer properly, and I don't want to misspeak. So, no political philosophy is perfect by any means. There is no utopia, but I do think that a libertarian philosophy, allowing you and I to make decisions that only you and I should be making, is proper. Is that it's fundamental, and that government should have a limited role, and that limited role should be to protect us against individuals, groups, corporations, foreign countries that would want to do us harm.
And this one comes from Alexander Cohan, who's out of D.C. He says, "Under what circumstances, if any, should we intervene militarily in a situation that does not pose a direct threat to the United States?"
I don't think that we should involve ourselves or intervene militarily. I think that our military interventions have unintended consequences. And right now, those unintended consequences are that we have hundreds of millions of enemies to this country that would not exist but for our military interventions.
David Radway, he's from Salt Lake City, Utah. He has a quote here from Abraham Lincoln, and he wants to know your thoughts on it. It says, "Prohibition goes beyond the bounds of reason in that it attempts to control man's appetite through legislation and makes a crime out of things that are not even crimes. A prohibition law strikes a blow at the very principles upon which our government was founded."
I completely concur with that, and as an advocate for legalizing marijuana, you could stick that in there, and that is absolutely a correct statement. Look, smoking pot, doing no harm to anybody, arguably, other than yourself. And by the way, if you're ever going to smoke pot, become impaired, and get behind the wheel of a car, that's always going to be a crime. But smoking pot, confines of your own home, doing no harm to anyone, arguably, other than yourself, should that be a crime? No. Might be a bad decision, but a crime? No.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Josh.